Yes, in a broad sense, we have never been like this moment in history in terms of the amount of change that is it's already started. We feel the ground, as you just said, shifting underneath us. It has already started. You know, 5 major innovation platforms evolving at the same time. You have to go back to the early 1900s to see anything like it. You had 3 platforms then. You had telephone, electricity, and automobile. Today you have DNA sequencing, you heard it on the conference, DNA sequencing, robotics, energy storage, artificial intelligence, blockchain technologies. All of them are in exponential growth trajectories, and they are converging with one another in massively important ways and profound ways. And they're going to deliver, we believe, if you just take a look at the technologies themselves, over the next 10 years, we believe the market cap associated with these 5 platforms and the 14 underlying technologies is going to scale at a 30% compound annual rate of return. These are astonishing rates of return. And if you're a good stock picker, you'll probably do even better than that if you're focused only on innovation. And we can add another wrinkle here, part of our research, which we talked about during the conference, which is, you know, with the way the electrical grid is evolving, we could see Bitcoin mining become a part of that infrastructure, so that here in St. Petersburg, for example, you know, we fill up our energy storage units quite easily because it's so sunny here. The overflow could go to Bitcoin mining, which would accelerate the shift towards renewables because the whole ecosystem will become so much more profitable over time. Well, I think China banning mining was very helpful in that regard.
Yes.
And so the U.S. was the biggest beneficiary of that. I think 34 or 5% of the mining now is taking place here in the United States, and Kazakhstan also. So we're seeing people like Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey, who both care an awful lot about the environment, trying to figure this problem out. And in fact, what I just mentioned about Bitcoin becoming a part of Bitcoin mining, becoming a part of a utility ecosystem, came out of research that we at ARK had done, led by Brett Winton, our director of research, and Yassine Elmandra, who's our lead crypto analyst. Working with Square, we were able to dimension how much the solar and wind would proliferate, how much faster it would proliferate with Bitcoin mining as a part of the ecosystem, as opposed to without it. And I think that research is starting to bear fruit. We're seeing utility ecosystems. You know, they're getting the plot, and they're looking for new ways to profit. And in the meantime, or in the process, they will be accelerating the shift towards renewables. Ironically, given the way people talk about Bitcoin. Well, in Big Ideas, we describe this by using the term revolutions. There are 3 revolutions taking place simultaneously right now. One is a money revolution. One is a financial services revolution. And one is a next generation internet revolution. Right. So on the money revolution, Bitcoin and Ether to some extent, but Bitcoin, surely, it is the most secure network out there, is the first, and each one of these words is really important, the first global, private, decentralized monetary system ever invented. And it is going to have profound ramifications. Just ask the people in El Salvador. And recently, President Bukele of El Salvador had a conversation with President Erdogan of Turkey because they are going through a currency crisis. And so I think the emerging markets are going to adopt this kind of monetary system increasingly, because their own monetary systems, very dependent often on the dollar or on the euro or someone else who does not control the population. They would prefer not to be dependent on politicians. This doesn't involve politicians. So that's the monetary revolution, and we think that it's going to proliferate faster. Emerging markets are very interested, except for China, of course. They're interested in making the digital yuan the reserve currency of Asia, and that's fully controlled by people. What I'm discussing is not. The second revolution is in the financial services industry. We do believe that DeFi, decentralized finance, is going to usurp the role of most financial services companies today. Most financial services companies are middlemen, and DeFi takes the middlemen out of the equation. You know, in the early days, some of your viewers may know of Lending Club, and it took some middlemen out of the equation, was able to offer higher rates to savers and lower rates to borrowers, and became very, very popular very quickly. We'll put that on steroids. That's what we have going on in DeFi. And again, it's a global movement. All of these are global. They are not, they're not being governed by any particular nationality. Now, regulators are now turning their sights on DeFi. Yes. Pretty aggressively. You saw in the chart how, at least once a month, twice a month, in the last year, a regulator somewhere around the world has said, hey, we've got to investigate this. And that's not a bad thing. I think in the United States, my observation is that regulators want to protect the little guy, the average investor. That's their mandate. And that's good. Prevent frauds and other such things. Generally, from our point of view, and what we seek to encourage is innovation that solves problems and makes the world a better place. Typically, that is what it does. Now, is technology used for nefarious purposes? All the time, and having cybersecurity experts out there focused on this, having the government really focused on this, I think is good news. But in terms of solving the world's problems, we see AI converging with each of the platforms, including blockchain technology.